All right, guys, we got this. Let's go. Gun wide trip sweep. Pros X go. On one. On one. Ready?
Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Pick'em with HuddleGG, and in today's video, we're going to teach you everything you need to know about cover one defense in Madden 24. We're going to talk about different routes and route combinations that attack this coverage well, and we're also going to talk about a really unique way that cover one plays in Madden that even if you've been playing this game for a really long time, you may not know. So with that being said, let's hop into it, and we're just going to come out in a random play to start on offense. And on defense, there are a few different cover ones that you may see throughout the game. You may see cover one hole, you may see cover one robber, you may see linebacker blitz one, you may see something like cover one contain, cover one hole press. Again, there are quite a few different options of what you'll see in cover one, but they're all going to play pretty similarly, and we're going to get into that. But before we talk about the way that this coverage does play, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because we have been releasing a play of the day every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you hit that subscribe button, you get instant access to those videos. And today we have a special video that's going over one of the best plays in the game to attack cover one. It's going to be something that you can attack underneath, but it's also going to give you a one-play touchdown against a specific coverage. So again, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that button now so you do get access to those videos. But with that being said, let's get back to this video and let's talk about cover one and how it plays on defense first, and then we'll talk about how we can attack it. Okay, so if we look at a play here, again, like I said, there's a lot of different play calls of different types of cover ones in Madden. The main difference is going to be what our second extra defender, I should say, is going to be in, right? So every cover one you see in this game is going to have 5 players in man coverage, and we're going to have this deep middle third player here. Okay, this yellow zone or this extra defender is going to really change the play call, right? If it's coming from the linebacker spot, this is going to typically be cover one hole. If he comes from the safety spot, that's going to be cover one robber. If he's blitzing, it could be something like linebacker blitz one. If he's in a contain or a QB spy, it's going to say cover one contain or something like that, right? So what this extra defender is doing really changes the play call, but all of them are going to play pretty similarly aside from that extra player, right? So what we're going to see here is there's specific shading rules for cover one that's really cool as a defensive player, but also something that as an offensive player we need to understand on how to attack it, right? So the way that cover one plays is the man defenders are going to funnel their receivers to their help. Okay, so how do they do that? Right, first let's look at anybody that's aligned inside the numbers. Okay, so here in this formation we have the 2 slot receivers and the running back, right? So any receiving threat that's aligned inside the numbers, those DBs are going to funnel them to the interior of the field because that's where our zone help is. Okay, so in order to funnel somebody to the inside, you want to shade outside, right? So those guys are not going to let those receivers get outside. They're going to force everything to the inside because that's where their help is. And the players outside of the numbers are going to do the opposite. Their help is the sideline, right? So they're going to try to funnel those receivers to the sideline. So what do I mean? I'll show you exactly what it'll do. So let's just run a play like 4 verticals here. And if we say hike, we'll step up into the pocket. We'll just throw this ball away. And we'll go into the replay here to show you exactly what I mean on how they shade differently to force that receiver to their help. Okay, so if we go look at this replay, what you're going to see here is if we look at these 2 receivers over here, right? Anybody that's inside the numbers, so 88 is inside the numbers, his defender is going to naturally shade him to the outside, which is, again, trying to force him to the inside of the field, which is where his help is, okay? And if we look at this outside guy, he's going to do the opposite. His help is not the center of the field because there's too much room between him and those interior zones. He doesn't want to give up all that space, so he's going to force his receiver to the sideline. So you'll see that he naturally shades this receiver to the out or to the inside, right? So he's going to take away the inside break, which is going to, again, force that receiver to the outside and give him less room to run his route. And the inside, the number receiver here is going to be shaded opposite, right? If we look to the right side of the field, we're going to get the same thing between these 2 guys, right? Inside the numbers is going to shade outside. Outside the numbers is going to shade inside. Okay, so this is something that a lot of people don't know about cover one, and it's how it can be effective, but it's also how we can understand how to beat it on offense, right? So for instance, if we're in something like this, and we try to throw an out route simply to this slot receiver to the left, this may not be the best route combination because we know that that corner is going to naturally be shading to the outside because of the cover one call, right? So again, it's not like he can never defend it, but he's going to be in pretty good possession to start that play. And if we click on, we can maybe get a stop there. If they have a KO, you're rarely going to get open because, again, we're really throwing into the shade here, right? So, again, this player is shaded outside, so he kind of runs this route for the receiver, right? The receiver gets underneath of him, so you can still throw this and maybe get it for a couple yards. But you can see how dangerous this throw is simply because we don't want to throw into the shade, right? So with that being said, how can we attack cover one? Right, we're going to talk about 3 different options we have here. And again, if you are subscribed, that video today will give you one of the best plays in the game. So make sure you do check that out. But first, we're going to talk about curls and comebacks. Okay, I'm going to put those together into one little bucket. Obviously, they are a different route, but that is something that is going to be effective, whichever one you want to run. Right, so if we look over here to the left side of the field, we're just going to put a 2 curls here on these players. Now, when it comes to throwing curls against man coverage, whether it's cover 0 or cover 1, like we're going to show here, you need to time it correctly as soon as they're turning around. Okay, so if we say hike here, as soon as this player turns around, we want to throw that. And then I like to possession catch just in case they have a KO on their DB, just to avoid that knockout there. Okay, but what you'll see here is if we do throw this as soon as that player turns around, we're going to have space between the receiver and the DB where we're going to have a good 5 yards there that we can make that completion pretty easily. Now, you can throw it to outside receivers too, but at times I've noticed they don't get as much separation. I have found that I do get better separation here from the slot receivers. So again, this is a very, very easy route that you can throw out of pretty much any formation in the game, and you don't need any route apprentice, you don't need hot route master or anything like that to get that route on the field. So it's a very, very easy route to put. Okay, now the other one we talked about is comebacks. Now this is something that you can only run to the outside receivers, right? So if you want to put a curl to the inside and a comeback to the outside, these would be 2 routes that will attack cover 1 very well. So if we go to wait, as soon as he's turning around, we can throw that. Again, I like to possession catch these to avoid those KOs. But if we look at the replay here, again, this is going to be something that we want to time. Okay, so we want to time it as soon as he's breaking back. If we look at our quarterback here from this angle, you can see we're getting rid of the ball right now as soon as that receiver is getting out of his break. And that's going to give us the separation we need to possession catch that ball on the sideline and get that easy completion. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about, again, easy, is just curls and comebacks, right? And I'll show you here, we can put a curl over here to the right side of the field on Gronk. But again, if we time this as soon as he turns around, it's an easy completion. All right, so that's going to be probably the easiest way to attack cover 1 because you can do that out of any formation. You don't need any special receivers. You don't need any special abilities to put that route on the field. So that's going to be our first one we talk about. Okay, the second one we're talking about is going to be halfback wheels. Okay, so with halfback wheels, there is something specific that I like to do with a halfback wheel. So if we just put a halfback wheel on the field and we're running something like 4 verticals here, this is not going to be ideal because we're running the wheel into other routes, right? We have 2 streaks going over there. There's just too much congestion to the left side of the field there. So what I like to do first is I like to clear out the side of the field that I'm running the wheel to, right? So let's say that we just put double slants, right? So if we put double slants, now there's no one deep left on the field that we have to worry about on our team where we're going to run players into that area, which would just make it muddy and not make it easy to complete, right? The second thing we want to do when we are throwing wheels is we want to have a route bending towards or going towards the deep middle of the field to keep the attention of that deep middle safety. Okay, we don't want that deep middle safety to have no threats in the middle of the field because then he's going to be able to help over there to that running back. Okay, so if we came out in something like this where we had no route going to the deep middle, this may not be the best route combination to get that wheel open because now the safety can actually help over there to the wheel because he doesn't have any other threats to the middle of the field. Okay, but if we go back to the play that we had, just 4 verticals, we see that that A route is going to bend really well into that interior of the field and right towards that deep middle safety, which is going to keep his attention there in the middle, which should open up this wheel route onto the running back. Now with wheel routes, they typically just beat man coverage. That's how it is this year. So what you'll see here is if we say hike, As soon as he starts to bend upfield, we're going to be able to throw that ball over the top, and that's going to be an easy one-play touchdown there for us. And again, this happens whether it's a safety or a linebacker guarding him. A lot of times what you're going to see is as soon as he starts to turn upfield, when the DB or linebacker, whoever it is, tries to turn his hips, he gets this separation, and it's just something that's going to be very, very, very consistent for us, okay? Now, if you see here, like I said, this route is very important on this play and this route because this is going to keep the attention of this middle safety and keep him in the center of the field, which opens up this huge area, which is where we're running that wheel into. And again, you can see that that safety has no chance to get over here, and that just gives us that easy one-play touchdown there with that running back. Okay, so again, when we're running that wheel to the running back, we want to make sure that we clear out that side of the field, and we also have some route going to the deep middle to keep the attention of that safety. Okay, now you could do something like this as well, where if you had a deep skinny post from that outside receiver over there to the right, again, because his route's going to the deep middle, that's still going to give us the ability to keep that safety to the middle of the field. And again, we can throw this. Again, you see that safety is nowhere to be found, and we're able to get that big gain there with that halfback wheel. Okay, now the last route or route combination we're going to talk about is going to really take advantage of our knowledge of how cover one plays, right? So we talked about cover one is going to shade anybody inside the numbers to the outside, right? So what we want to do is we want to attack with a high-low over the middle with our inside of the field receivers, right? So what I mean by that, anybody that's inside the numbers, let's just say we put a drag on one guy and we put a post on the other. Okay, so if we do something like this, they should beat their man one-on-one, and at this point, we just have to read where the user goes. Okay, so again, there's going to be this yellow route here. Let's say if this yellow route, let's say he covers the underneath, right? That should open up this post over here, right? So vice versa, if he covers the post, that should open up the drag underneath. So if we run this time and time again, what you'll see is no matter what this guy does, right, that middle linebacker, we're just throwing it opposite of him, right? So again, if he follows that drag, that's going to open up our post because, again, these guys are shaded to the outside, so they're not going to play very well on in-breaking routes, right? And the same thing here, if we put this guy on the tight end and we notice that he's playing back and helping out with the deeper route or that intermediate route, we should be able to hit our drag time and time again over the middle because no one's going to be there to help, right? So it's a very, very basic read over the middle of the field that we're using here, where we're just seeing what that extra defender does, right? So again, it's just a high-low, right? Because we know that our guys should beat their defender one-on-one, and now it's just reading that extra defender, right? Does he back up? Is he helping over the top? We're just going to take that drag easy. It's going to be very, very simple. And again, if he wants to play underneath and help out with that drag, you saw that that post is going to be wide open. And if we look at the replay again here, you can see we know this guy's shaded outside, right? So he's going to give up the drag, right? Same thing here. This guy's shaded outside. He's going to give up the post. So we just need to read this +1 defender in the middle of the field and decide, is he going underneath to take the drag? We throw the post. Is he staying back with the post? We're going to throw the drag. So again, those are 3 different options that we can use to attack cover one. Like I said, the first 2 with the curls and comebacks and that halfback wheel, those are just basic routes that do a really good job against man coverage in general. But that last with the high-low over the middle, you want to make sure you use those inside of the field receivers. And we're just going to take advantage of the natural shade that cover one has in this game. Because again, it's something that your opponent may not even know if they're running this coverage, but it's something we can definitely take advantage of and get some big gains in the passing game against this cover one defense. And if you're interested in getting better at Madden, make sure to join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord. Have a great day.